So, tell me about driving just on the road yourself. What kind of driver are you?
I'm a very relaxed driver.
Are you
Yeah, I'm
really?
very relaxed. I've got no points on my license and, no speeding tickets. And, whenever people shout at me in road rage, I just smile and carry on going. I'm quite a different driver from Frank Martin.
So, what was it like doing this? I mean, I know you had to do some training and stuff. What was that like?
It was amazing, That's one of the greatest things about this job is to be able to experience new things. Life is a journey and about experience. Yes, I want to create art. Yes, I want movies to be, these movies to be great or whatnot. But also, I have to live this is how I live my life. I spent 4 months of my life on this movie. So, what a great joy to be able to enjoy every day of it.
Mm-hmm. Were you a fan of the Transporter franchise previously?
I'd never seen them actually. Yeah, I'm a guy who's very slow to TV series and movies and such. And I was aware of them, but I hadn't seen them. And it was important for me to watch them and see what the fans expected from them, and then to move on and do my own thing.
Did that kind of help in a way because you're not, comparing yourself to someone else? You're just doing your own thing and creating this character, Frank?
I think so. I think in some ways, in a sort of optimistic way, I'd like to think that I'd still be optimistic if it was the other way around, and if I was a huge fan of them and watched them 100 times, that I would know them so inside out I could interpret them in my own way. So I'm ever the optimist.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you have to do some fighting in this too. So was that a skill you already did, or did you have to do a lot of training for that?
Yeah, I had to do a lot of training for that. I came into it with an endurance sport background, so I had the engine, but I just didn't have the muscle memory and the martial arts background. So to learn things like Kali, Filipino knife and stick fighting, and Krav Maga and Muay Thai and English boxing and all of this, to spend time on that was incredible, and such a joy to be able to add them to my skill set and learn and grow.
Did you have a favorite of those?
I fell in love with Kali, yeah, with the stick fighting, and I fell in love with English boxing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Has this kind of whetted your appetite for more action?
In some senses, I was lucky that I was able to continue my journey and my development on Deadpool. Work with Phil Silvera and Rob Alonso and Bob Breen, who are incredible trainers, and build on what Alain Figlaz and his team had taught me. So that was great. But I'm born in. I come out of independent cinema, and I love European cinema and independent US cinema. So that's where my heart is really. It's wonderful to be able to do these big set pieces, and life is about balance and the yin and the yang. I want to separate. Enjoy both sides of the divide as such.
Mm-hmm. I heard that you brought your son to set at least one time.
Yeah.
What did he think of all this?
He thinks it's cool. I mean, his favorite thing is the craft table, So obviously, they're filling him up with chocolate and chips and all of that stuff. So he's just straight for he calls it the bad food truck, he's straight for the bad food truck. But he loves it.
You spent a lot of time in the car with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you guys talk about in there?
Well, in between takes.
In between takes, not during, yeah, obviously.
A lot of the time we'd turn the radio on and we'd listen to some music and we'd talk, and I mean, I was quite disciplined for this shoot. I kind of changed my vibe and my energy and my sort of social patterns and social behaviors for each shoot. And Frank is this closed off island, and I was quite disciplined for this. I think my cast members would probably say that I was quite a boring person to sit in the car with in between takes. I was lucky that Ray Stevenson was around to keep things light and fun a lot of the time. So a lot of the time it was the girls, having a great time, and me just kind of sitting there.
And one last quickie, do you plan to do any more rapping in your future?
I don't think so. I don't count anything out. I don't look too far in the future, and who knows what might come next. I might move into pottery or ballet or anything. I might be I might jump into your profession next. But I don't count anything out, in all seriousness. But my instinct says that I probably won't be. That when I was younger and I had things to say, and also when there was this incredible underground scene with so much unity in the time that I was in the scene, and now that's kind of not there anymore. So I feel like I'm here to stay in this craft. I feel like I have a lot more to prove to myself and everyone, and I can improve a lot. And you know, I'm really only a small way into my journey, so I think I'm here to stay.
I'm sure you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.